Alright guys, welcome back. Here's page 2 of our quarter 3 test review. We're going to start off with a very fun word problem. As I've said in class, always read it a sentence at a time, and the first sentence is always creating the equation. And when you create the equation, that first sentence, just go ahead and highlight, circle, label any important facts that you take or see. So the number of buckets is n. Right? Needs to paint a fence. Varies. Remember, varies just means equals k. It varies directly with the total area A of the fence and inversely with the amount of paint P in a bucket. So now I'm going to go ahead and basically read only the stuff I have marked. So n varies. Directly means multiplication, and it varies directly, so it multiplies with A. And inversely means division, so it's divided by P, the amount of paint. Right, and there it is. That's the first sentence, and that's our full equation. Now, we're going to go ahead in step 2, read the second sentence. It takes 3 1-gallon buckets. So it took how many buckets? 3 buckets. Right? And each bucket has 1 gallon. Gallon is amount of paint. So it take 1 gallon, that's 1 RP. Okay? And buckets of paint to paint is 72 square feet. There's my hint that that's our A, which means the only thing we don't know after reading the second sentence is K. And your second step is always going to be find K. So we know we've done it correctly. When we divide by 1, that doesn't change anything, so I'm just going to get rid of it. So now I have 72 times K equals 3, and to get rid of it, divide both sides by 72. So we end up with K equaling 1 over, 24? 272 divided by 3? Yep, 24. It's easier to leave it as a fraction, but if you wanted to make it a decimal, it's perfectly fine as well. All right, this leads to step 3. Step 3 is rewriting our equation, but now we know what K is. Okay. The fact that I did 1 over 24 and A over P is because 1 over 24 is still a fraction. And 1 over 24, 1 is on the top, 24 is on the bottom, A is on the top, P is on the bottom. So I just did that. You could have done it a different way. You could have done 1 over 24A all over P. It means the same thing. Or you could have done a decimal. Okay. Next up, we read the next sentence. All right, that's step 4. How many 1-gallon buckets? So again, we have 1 gallon. That's our P. Will be needed to paint 90 square feet. And we know K is 1 over 24. And we don't know how many buckets we need. So that's N. If we do 90 divided by 24, you get 3.75. But if you think about it and you go to like Home Depot, for example, can you buy 0.75 of a bucket? No. If you really needed the paint, you would round up and you would get 4 buckets of paint. So that's our final answer, 4 buckets. Right. Even if our answer was 3.2, you would still round up to 4, because if you have 3 buckets, you won't have enough paint. You're still missing that 0.2. So you would end up buying a 4th bucket. Right? That's just a little side example. Okay. Next up, we have another sentence. Same thing. Read it and translate it every time you read something. So Q varies is equals K. Jointly is also multiplication. So it varies jointly with R and Y. So K varies jointly, so K multiplies with R and Y. Then it's inverse, which is division, with t. So I'm dividing by t. And that's it. That's your final answer. They just wanted you to translate it. There it is. Let's fix the setting again on the screen. Voila. All right. Next up, number 7. Your favorite unit, rational functions. All right. Which asymptotes go with the graph? Here it is. Write each answer in the corresponding box. All right. Horizontal asymptote. That's when you look at the degrees. So compare highest degrees. So the highest degree on top is a 2, and the highest degree on the bottom is 2. When they're the same, we create a fraction with the numbers in front of those variables. So 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So y equals 2 is the horizontal asymptote, and you can only have one, so there it is. Next up is the vertical asymptote. That's when you set the denominator, or the bottom, equal to 0, and sometimes you have to factor. Factor does not go away. I know how much you guys love to factor, so it's staying. So we're going to take the denominator. We have x squared minus 16 set it equal to 0. And we have two terms, and it's a subtraction. So we see if it's a perfect square. Square root of 16 is 4. We're like, yes, it is. Which means this factors to an x plus 4 and an x minus 4. Take each parenthesis, set it equal to 0. So x plus 4 equals 0. Get x by itself. We subtract 4 on both sides. We get negative 4. Do the same thing to the other parentheses. Take x minus 4, set it equal to 0. Add 4 on both sides. We get 4. So here we have positive 4 and negative 4. So that's x equals plus and minus 4. And that's our final vertical asymptotes. We have 2 in this case. You can have more than 1 for vertical asymptotes. Alright, next up is the graph. We're going to have to find the asymptotes, so we're going to do the same steps. So horizontal asymptote, highest degree on top is a 1, highest degree on the bottom is 1, it's the same. So we take the numbers in front, that's 2 divided by 1. So it turns out horizontal asymptote again for this one is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And whenever you draw asymptotes, they're dashed lines because there are barriers. To find our vertical asymptote, take the bottom, set it equal to 0. We don't need to factor in this case, lucky you. Solve for x and we get negative 3. So at negative 3, we now have a vertical asymptote. There it is. Right? If you want to see where the graph goes, you could make a table, or you could plug this into Desmos / your calculator, and you end up seeing that the image for this graph is on this section and in this section. And remember, you never cross the vertical asymptote. In this case, we don't cross the horizontal one either. Almost. Right? Another factoring one. So again, there's an x to the 3rd power and no x here. So we're going to try for the perfect cubes. So we already did the first one on the first page. 27x cubed, the cube root of that is just 3x. And for b, the cube root of 64, we don't take the negative, is 4. So let's look here. And since it's multiple choice, we're going to go ahead and try and do process of elimination. So we know it's going to be SOAP. So SOAP is same, opposite, always, positive. So same is what we started with. It's negative. Then it should be a plus, and then it should be a plus again. So we have negative, negative. Uh-oh. So that means A is automatically out. So now we have a negative, good, positive, and positive. So that's a contender. We have negative, positive, positive. That's another contender. Now we got to see what the difference is. 3x minus 4, 3x minus 4. That's the same. 9x squared, 3x squared. Okay, that's different. 12x, 12x, and 16, 16. So the only difference is here. And if you remember on the first page, this is where I said the SOL gets people. Because you know the formula is a times b, and then it's a squared, b squared. You are squaring every part of a. So we are not only squaring the x, we're squaring the 3. So 3 squared is 9, which means C is now out. It has to be option B. Okay. So if you're ever given a multiple choice test, and this is a type of problem you have to do process of elimination, or just go ahead and solve it and then match up your answer. Okay. So that's the second page. Hopefully isn't too bad. Go ahead and take a minute, try the third page on your own, and then watch the next video to see how well you did. Okay? Have a great day.